Hello and welcome. You're watching Unplugged TV India. This is Alice Francis. Let's begin with today's top stories. COVID-19 restrictions relaxed in 14 districts of Maharashtra. No evidence found against Aryan Khan in drug on cruise case, says NCB. Second student dies in Ukraine after suffering stroke. Indian embassy in Ukraine advised all its nationals to leave Kharkiv immediately. India to send medical aid to Ukraine amid Russian invasion. Operation Ganga, Indian Air Force aircraft lifts for Romania to bring Indian nationals. Russia-Ukraine conflict, respect international law, territorial integrity, says India. Americans to get COVID-19 tested at a drugstore and receive free medications, President Joe Biden. EU to temporarily give residency to Ukraine refugees. As the COVID-19 daily cases are declining in Maharashtra, the State Executive Committee on consideration of the Health Department COVID Task Force has announced new modifications to the rules. The following directions will come into effect from March 4. The state and will remain in force till the issue of any new order. According to the latest order, all social, sports, entertainment, academic, cultural, religious, political, festival-related events will be allowed. Administrative units included in List A to the extent of 50% of capacity of the venue. However, whenever a gathering is expected to be more than 1,000%, special permission are to be taken. Districts falling under Category A includes Mumbai City, Mumbai Suburban, Pune, Bhandara, Sindhudurg, Nagpur, Raigad, Wardha, Ratnagiri, Satara, Sangli, Gondia, Chandrapur and Kolhapur. No evidence found that Aryan Khan, the son of actor Shah Rukh Khan, was involved in a larger drugs conspiracy or an international drug trafficking syndicate, and there were several irregularities in the raid on the yacht Cordelia, during which he was arrested, reports a special investigation team of NCB. The investigation suggests that Khan was never in possession of drugs, so there was no need to take his phone and check his stats. The chats do not suggest Khan was part of any international syndicate. The raid was not video recorded as required by the NCB manual. The SIT investigation isn't over yet and seems to raise more questions over the raid itself and the conduct of the agency's former Mumbai Zonal Unit Director Sameer Wankhede. The high-profile case got shrouded in controversy when a key NCB witness alleged that the agency's Mumbai Zonal Chief Sameer Wankhede was part of a 25 crore extortion racket targeting Khan. The witness Prabhakar Sale also alleged that he was forced to sign sheet on blank paper. After Russia started a full-fledged invasion of Ukraine last week, India is sending humanitarian aid and medical supplies to the country. A team from the National Disaster Response Force is delivering 100 tents and 2,500 blankets to the Indian Air Force's Hindit Air Base, according to reports. It will then be transported by plane to Romania, Ukraine's neighboring country. The flight is set to depart at 10:15 a.m. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Zelensky announced on Tuesday that 300 civilians had been murdered so far, including at least 14 children. The Indian government has been ferrying Indian citizens to the Romanian border as the Ukrainian airspace has been closed due to the Russian invasion. On Wednesday, an Indian student from Barnala in Punjab, studying in Ukraine where a battle is raging following the Russian military's invasion, died after suffering an ischemic stroke. Chandan Jindal, age 22, attended the Winstill National Provog Memorial Medical University in Winstill, Ukraine. Jindal was admitted to emergency hospital after suffering stroke. His father has written to the Indian government to arrange for the return of his body. The center is also attempting to recover the body of a Karnataka student who was killed in shelling in Kharkiv a day ago. Because Ukraine's airspace is closed to passenger flights, bodies may be transported to neighboring nations, as has been the case with trapped Indians. Meanwhile, amid reports of heavy shelling in Ukraine's Kharkiv, the Indian embassy in Ukraine advised all its nationals to leave Kharkiv immediately for their safety and security. They have been told to proceed to Shoin, Babai and Vizulokova as soon as possible and reach these settlements by 6 p.m. on Wednesday under all circumstances. Ramping up the efforts of the evacuation process of Indian nationals stranded in conflict zones of Ukraine, the Indian Air Forces have joined Operation Ganga. An Indian Air Force C-17 transport aircraft had left for Romania in the wee hours on Wednesday. The aircraft lifted off Hindan Air Base at around 4 a.m. on Wednesday. In the evacuation mission, India has launched flights from Hungary, Romania, Poland and Slovakia to bring back Indian nationals back home after they exited Ukraine through its land border crossing. India had decided to send the relief supplies to Ukraine to help it deal with the humanitarian situation and its border areas with tens of thousands people attempting to flee the Russian invasion. With Russia's offensive in Ukraine intensifying, India continued to remind Moscow at the United Nations that all member states must not only adhere to the UN Charter but also respect international law, territorial integrity and state sovereignty. Recent India's permanent representative to the United Nations, T.S. Tirumurti in the UNGA, which is expected to vote on a resolution condemning Russia motion on Wednesday, reminded of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's emphasis on the same level in his conversation with his counterparts from Romania and Slovakia on Monday. Tirumurti made the same point while speaking at a UNSC meeting about the humanitarian situation in Ukraine. He emphasized the importance of ensuring civilian security while providing assistance from India to stranded residents of neighboring countries and the developing world. Tirumurti stated that a critical and urgent humanitarian situation is developing in Ukraine and that in times of war, India prioritizes the safety as well as well-being of civilians, particularly women, children and the elderly. President Joe Biden announced on Tuesday that his administration has launched a new effort that will allow Americans to get COVID-19 tested at a drugstore and receive free medications right away if they test positive. Biden was speaking at the first State of the Union address. We're beginning the Test to Treat project, which will allow folks to get tested at a drugstore and obtain antiviral medicines on the spot free of charge. The Biden administration will release a national contingency plan for COVID-19, laying out how to move forward safely and return to our more usual routines. The White House already announced that beginning Tuesday, the requirement that fully vaccinated people wear masks on the White House property will be lifted. It also advised federal agencies that they can stop requiring employees and visitors to wear masks in government facilities across the country under COVID-19. He also added that he cannot guarantee that a new version of COVID-19 won't appear, but can assure that if it does, well, do everything we can to be prepared. He claims that the US is now in a position to deploy new vaccines in 100 days rather than months or years. The European Commission proposed on Wednesday that people fleeing the war in Ukraine be granted temporary protection, including a residence permit and access to employment and social welfare. Since Russia's military invasion of Ukraine, more than 650,000 people have fled to EU members Poland, Romania, Slovakia and Hungary, according to the EU executive. The new legislation designed to deal with such mass arrivals of displaced people in the EU would apply in all member states without the need for lengthy asylum procedures. The proposal will be discussed on Thursday by EU interior ministers. Once adopted, Ukrainian refugees will receive 1 year of temporary protection, which can be extended for up to 3 years if the situation in Ukraine improves sufficiently for people to return home and the scheme to expire. Ukrainian nationals as well as those already receiving international protection or asylum seeker status in Ukraine will be granted temporary protection. Those on short-term stays in Ukraine who can safely return to their home country will not benefit from the new legislation. Thank you for watching Unplugged TV India. This is Alice Francis signing off.